Between November 1827 and November 1828, local entrepreneurs William Burke and William Hare decided to leave the construction industry and allowed for both their own personal growth and the economic encouragement of tertiary education in the city through locating and upcycling 16 valuable human resources. When their enterprise came to a close, one entered publishing while the other took a career gap to work elsewhere. The corpses student surgeons craved, specimens due for dissection, often obtained by collection criminally from their graves, saw large mobs riot, rant and rave for their relatives' protection from unchristian resurrection, and mort-safes met by midnight spades. Ironic, then, that any list of famous resurrection men have Burke and Hare atop the list. They were no resurrectionists. Bills Burke and Hare, but Irishmen who sold the sorry souls they killed. Hare lodged with Logue at Tanner's Close. When old Logue died, his widow, Laird, took up with him. This pretty pair now kept the rent paid out by those, like Burke, a new friend of her beau's, who found their bed and lodgings there. Alas, one lodger, Donald, dared to die while he had back rent owed. This dubious duo, after dark, prized open the unburied box. No need to kill to make a killing. The body swapped for Tanner's bark. They carried it to Dr Knox, who paid £7, 10 shillings. Burke and Hare's first resurrection, prologue in their real-life thriller, Bloodless made no man a killer. For body 2, the bill's selection, Walter Scott thought, on reflection, of their lodger Joe, a miller, fever-struck and getting iller, stemmed from their fear of infection. Delirious, they got him drunk to make the victim stay in place and guarantee he made no sounds. Burke lay his weight across Joe's trunk, and here a pillow on his face. This time Knox gave the pair £10. A man from Cheshire, name unknown, lodging while he touted matches, felt ill too, for fear they'd catch his jaundice. This man and a crone named Abigail from Gilmerton formed the next among the batches of the duo's dread dispatches. Their dying order isn't known. Abigail Simpson was not ill, but selling salt around the town the day she called on Burke and Hare. Still, like the packman, she was killed, filled full of whisky and held down. The bills got £20 the pair. Next came a friend of Margaret Hare, who'd come to call and quickly sunk into a whisky stupor, drunk and dozing, not the least aware when Bill stripped bedding from his bunk and stopped her face up with a chunk until at last she gasped for air. The woman's death was no way quick. Hare left her there for hours alive. Once set in motion, it sufficed to let that mattress top or tick and time take tolls. She would not thrive. £10 was once more Knox's price. Already drunk at breakfast time, Mary Patterson, Janet Brown and Burke, who brought the girls around, brought to Burke's brother, Constantine, 2 whisky bottles, which they downed. While Burke and Janet fooled around, till his wife Helen said, "He's mine." They fought. Burke would not get his oats. Drunk, Mary slept right through the tiff. Brown left. She got a close escape. Helen got Mary's petticoats. Good Dr Knox, another stiff. And Burke, not £10 now, but 8. That Patterson got £2 less reflects the summer season price, when, with a lack of on-tap ice, the tutor's teaching time was pressed due to the frailty of the flesh. Yet Mary, still warm when supplied, so unchanged she was recognised by Knox's junior, was quite fresh. Indeed, although he paid no more and claimed £8, all Hare deserved, Knox was impressed upon inspection. So much impressed, he had her stored 3 months in whisky to preserve Mary prior to dissection. Hare next shared his firewater with Mrs. Haldane. Like the others, she supped, slept, and then was smothered. Some months after Hare had caught her, she was followed by her daughter, not to find her fate, but rather as a lodger, like her mother, another £8 bill of slaughter. Effie next, who gathered cinders from breaking rubbish tips to sell, avoided her own midden mound, until Knox had seen within her, through Hare's breathtaking hands as well. The sale of Effie brought £10. So dropped down drunk she could not stand, a woman left an inn alone, intent on making her own way home, but fairly feeling in that plan, and so to many perils prone. Then, with the grace for which they're known, a constable gave her a hand, but there lurked Burke, who spied this pair, and asked to help the lass instead. The officer took up his offer. Of course, he led her home to Hare, instead of safely to her bed. Another tenner for their coffers. When monetising murder sprees, make sure that your supply chain's sound. When Burke and Hare had bodies bound for Dr Knox, logistically they used an empty box of tea to cart their cold cadavers round, with no fear that they might be found, nor found out in their felonies. This worked best with one corpse alone. The tea chest was too small for sharing, cramped as just one corpse's quarters. 2 £8 birds killed with one stone filled a barrel meant for herring, so heavy that they hired a porter. Those 2 bodies in the drum left Burke and Hare in quite a state. Burke started to hallucinate. He, who previously was numb to moral quibbles, would become fixated until opiates made the spectral sight abate of the young boy dead and dumb. Hare was hurt too by the barrel when the weight of the departed made porterage his last recourse. Hare and an earlier helper quarrelled when that help stopped at the grass market, and that's why Bill Hare shot his horse. So short of cash, he'd pawned his clothes. Burke noted Hare had new apparel, bought not with bodies in a barrel, but in a box, so Hare supposed. A body Hare had not disclosed. Deceit, which caused a bitter quarrel, that put their partnership in peril. Burke moved 2 streets from Tanner's Close. 3 months on, their friendship fostered. To find new quarries was their quandary, so they might share more siller soon. The answer came with Mrs. Ostler, come to help Hare with his laundry, sold for £8 that afternoon. Hare's wife claimed that Burke's wife Helen could not be trusted, as she thought no Irishman should trust a Scot. Better yet to snuff than sell them. This, at least, is Burke's retelling, as taken down when he was caught. Who knows if we should trust or not the facts from a convicted felon? At any rate, they let her live, thanks to the love of William Burke, who would not hold his partner down. He'd no qualms when her relative came on a visit from Falkirk. They got their standard rate, £10. Daft Jamie Wilson, living rough, aged just 18, with malformed feet and simple mind, came off the street to drink Hare's whisky, though the stuff held less appeal for him than snuff, so drunkenness was not complete, and thus his killing not so neat, though they still killed him, sure enough. The students would identify with ease Dr. Knox suspected a well-known figure of the street. They'd see his simple lies, so before he was dissected, Knox cut off Jamie's head and feet. The last to die was Docherty. She came back with Burke when he claimed his sweet old mother shared her name. When he got home, he paid the Greys, 2 lodgers there, to stay away, so he might kill another dame. The means to do so were the same. But this time Burke would not be paid. The Greys, suspicious, searched the straw where Burke and Hare had tried to hide dead Docherty, a grisly hunt. Anne and James Gray called the law. The Williams, Burke and Hare were tried. Their spree had lasted just 10 months. They hanged Bill Burke till he was dead, then opened him to take a look. Quite legal with convicted crooks, but not by Knox. Monroe, instead, looked deep inside Burke's bowels and read. Dissection done, Monroe then took Burke's skin, with which he bound a book, and wrote in blood drawn from his head. Hare, for making full confession, could go scot-free by court command, though threatened, briefly, by a mob, and saved by further intercession. He was left to walk to England like Cain sent to the land of Nod.